Masechet Menahot Daf Chav, continuing from Yotet Amud Bet, 18 lines down. The last thing mentioned regarding to Rav was that Rav held that if the Torah repeats itself in regarding to halacha regarding the avodah of a minha, it means it's required, and if you don't do it, it's pasu. Now we're going to ask questions on that. Amru le Rav Kahana le Rav said le Rav. V'hai hagasha. 1 second. The halacha, the bringing of the minha near the mizbeach, the Tana be'akra, the Torah repeats it. V'lo ma'akva, it's not required. So it doesn't, because it repeats it doesn't mean it's required. The Gemara says, Mantana, where do we say it's repeated? Tektiv. Zot Torah ha-minha hakre ve'ota b'nei Aaron l'fnei Hashem. Question against Rav. The Gemara says, Hahu lekvo ala ma'akom nehudat. No, that pasuk is teaching you that where the minha is supposed to be, by the side of the mizbeach. It says, Lifnei Hashem, pasuk is the front of Hashem, Yachol Marav, maybe you think even the west. When the Marav, the pasuk is the b'nei mizbeach in front, seemingly the south, by the ramp. Yeah, b'nei mizbeach, but only mentioned in the south. Yachol might think that even on the south side of the mizbeach, the Marav, the pasuk is the Lifnei Hashem in front of Hashem. Okay, so how do you have both things? The one says, you bring it to the southwest corner. That is good enough. You're getting both factors. You're getting the fact that's in front of Hashem by the Echal, and in front of Hashem, and by the front of the Beach. Okay, so therefore, it's not repeating the pasuk heke that we said earlier will teach you requirement. It's also teaching you the halacha of location. What Rabbi Elazar says, Yachol yagishinu ma'arava shakeren, all the demar shakeren. Now we're just continuing the Breita. You might think that since you bring the minha to either the west or the south, Amaret, it might be okay. Amaret, therefore going to say, every time you find two pisukim, if the pasuk fulfills itself, and the other pasuk fulfills the other. If you have one pasuk, if two pasukim, one fulfills itself, one knocks out the other. You leave over the one that fulfills itself, and you leave out the one that negates it. But and you take the pasuk that fulfills itself and fulfills the other. How's that applying over here? When the pasuk is over here, you should bring it in front of Hashem by the west side. That knocks out the pasuk of in front of the which is the south. Therefore, when you say in front of the south of the you also fulfill the in front of Hashem, which is the west. How to fulfill it? The Gemara says, he says the pasuk. This Rabbi Elazar holds the whole time he holds the time is the northern side of the Echal, which is next to the Hechal, and that's how we fulfill it. 1 second, the pasuk that tells you to put salt, which is not repeated in the pasuk. We say that we know that knocks out the we know that's required. Then it says, Brit melach olam hu he. It's the eternal brit of salt. It must be teaching you. Brit amurav melach. Anytime the brit because it's a brit by salting the beach, and it's required. That's going to be one who says Neymar Khan. We have a pasuk over here. Brit melach olam he. Another pasuk says Brit kahunat olam by the kahuna as well. Like you can't have a mizbeach without a kohen. A korban without a kohen. So you can have a korban without salt. So we see, even though it's not repeated, it's still required. Gemara says, Amar Abasef, that Rav Kitana Didan Svirle. The Rav holds like our Mishnah. That Mar he says, Lo malach kasher, if no salt, it's kasher. So, no stira. Amar Abaye says, Yachi is the case. Lo yasak nami, if you did not pour the oil, it should also be understood to teach you, Lo yasak la, even if you didn't pour it at all, it's still kasher. Ela lo yasak kohen elazar. But it really means, it doesn't mean that he didn't do it at all, it means that the kohen didn't do it, but a non-kohen did it. Hachanami said over here, Lo malach kohen elazar. Maybe our Mishnah is on case. We're not that he completely forgot, but rather a non-kohen salted it. So we can't say that it's knocking out the question behind Rav. It's teaching us something else completely. Seemingly, the Gemara says no. Can it possibly be that a non-kohen can salt on the mizbeach? Tasur. Must be. It's teaching you that. Like we said earlier regarding Rav, the Gemara says, "Vayei b'tamid answer kiven dechti be'ek brit." Once mentions brit, kiman tana be'kra means because if it's repeated, and therefore that's how we know salt is required. And if it's not repeat itself, v'aktiv. What do we mean? We know what's repeated by salt. V'chol korban min hatecha b'melech timlach. Seemingly, it is repeated. The Gemara says, "How that breath test needs to do as follows: Ilu ne'emar korban melech, if the pasuk only would have said put salt in mizbeach without the word mincha, shumani afilu aisim v'dam, then therefore you would have said even wood and blood on the mizbeach needs salt. Shenkar korban could be another considered a korban. Therefore the pasuk says mincha only mincha, ma mincha miyuchedet she'achrim ba'in chava, just like only mincha is come with things that are required part of it, like the wood. Of course, so anything else that comes with the required parts. However, wood and blood are not required parts of the mizbeach, and therefore they're not brought with salt. Whereas the imam mincha miyuchedet l'shma teret, mincha is also unique because why it allows things to be mutar, like you burning the komet allows you to eat the mincha, remainder. Av kol shmatir maybe also everything else required. Avi dam shmatir, also blood is when you throw the blood, it also allows you to be eaten the thing that you need salt. The pasuk says me'al minchatecha mincha below me'al mincha blood. Okay. Yachol, therefore you might also think tihem mincha kula te'ona melech. Maybe the entire mincha should need salt, not just the komets. Now the marv the pasuk says korban te'on melech, only the korban needs salt. Ve'em mincha kula te'ona melech, not the whole mincha. Ve'enni ala komets, now I only know the komets need salt. Minayin rabot el levana, I know even the levana needs salt. Minabi anit el levana, I'll include the levana sheken ba'a imma b'kli echad, because it comes together with the mincha in a single kli. Minayin rabot el levana ba'a b'fnei atzma. How do you know that it include the levanas that come separately? Levana b'in b'zeichin, and also the levana that comes with the lachem panim. V'atorah zin torah mincha l'nakwim, the mincha l'kohanim, mincha l'kol Mashiach, mincha l'kol Mashiach, mincha l'nasachim, the mincha l'alabations. Emre hatat, the sacrifice parts of hatat, emre hasham, the sacrifice parts of the hasham, emre kochei kochim, and the sacrifice parts of kochim, emre kochei halim, and also the sacrifice of kochim. Ve'evre olah, and also the limit of olah. Ve'olah ta'aruf, and the bird olah. Meaning I know all these things need salted. The number of the pasuk says, "Al kol korban chata kriv melach." So we see it's not hegep repeated the pesukim. It's repeated to teach you separate things. So no question. Okay, Amar Amor. Any other comments? We only know that the comments need salt. How you do include the we said earlier that because it comes in the same kli, other things also require salt. The Gemara says, one second. But we said, we said the mincha is unique because it comes with required parts. But the thing is, you just said levona and everything else is included. But that doesn't have the same characteristics of mincha. The Gemara says, says as follows. Ema korban kla. When the pasuk mentions korban, that's general. Korban needs salt. Mincha prat, and it's specified only mincha, which excludes. Klal prat, when you have a generalization and specification, and bechal elamash prat, you can only include things in the generalization that which was specified in the specification. Minha'in, therefore only menahot needs salt. Midahnin and anything else. The Gemara says one second. Then the Braita then said, Al korok minha hazar klab. Another pasuk, another part of the pasuk that says any korban. Another generalization. Klal pratu klal. If you have a generalization, specification, generalization, iyata dan illa ke'ena prat. You only could learn anything similar to the specification. That's when we learned that the minha is limiting things that are that are specified, that have obligatory things that come with it, and therefore the two brachot are not arguing against each other, but rather it's teaching you the characteristics of what are required with salt. Okay, aharim deba'in hovada manu. What are the things that you're saying? Oh, other obligatory things that come with the minha. It's even talking about wood. Of course, any wood needs salt. The Gemara says ema levana. Maybe that's referring to levana. But ati dam deika nesachim, and then I also include blood, since in nesachim as well you need salt. Where it says nesachim bahad emurin huda atum. No, nesachim are coming with sexual parts. They don't come with blood. Therefore, you don't have to bring salt with blood. Where's my time? Why? Achila ushtia, because one is referring to eating, and one is referring to drinking. These korbanot are not about eating and drinking. It's also about getting kapara and having simha. The blood gets kapara, and the wine libations is simha. Maybe you should need salt. The Gemara says, "Elo levana ba'ab imma b'kli echad." Levana needs mincha, comes with mincha in a single vessel. That's why it needs salt. Nesachim in ba'in kli echad. Nesachim do not come with the blood in a single vessel. That's why the blood does not need salt. Abayasim, but with the wood, ki heichi de mitkashra b'mincha, just like the mincha needs to be burnt with the wood. Hachi mitkashra v'hokul korbanot. So the korbanot all have to be burnt with the wood. And just like they are like the mincha with the wood, they also need salt. Ve'ema mahaprat mifrash achirim ba'in chavala materet. One second, you want to tell me the different characteristics of the minha specification? I'll tell you something very specific. The minha is clearly talking about a korban that has other things that come with it and also allow it to be eaten. Of course, so I'll bring any other korban that has obligatory items that come with it, and also gives kapara like a minha. Umanu, what's that? Levuna haba'ab v'zichim sharilechem. The levuna that comes with the spoons from the shulchan for lechem panim also needs to be burnt for eating lechem panim. Aval midiyachim but not anything else. No, maybe nothing else should be salted. Where it says since the pasuk of from your mincha teaches you and excludes blood. Therefore, it's teaching you all they come in with the same characteristic, the similarity, and since blood only compares to mincha regarding the fact that it gives permission to eat it, it's not good enough. We need two similarities. That excludes blood. Let's say from mincha, and let's exclude sacrificial limbs and include blood. No, it makes more sense to include limbs, because there's 6 characteristics that are similar to it. First of all, they come as part of the korban like mincha. Ishim they are burnt in the fire like a mincha. Bahut they're done outside the hechal like a mincha. Notar they are chayav if you leave it outside overnight, if you leave it extra over time, like a minha. Tum'ah they become tameh like a minha. Me'ilah they also have me'ilah like a minha. Therefore, it should be considered like that. The Gemara says, I have a different comparisons. Dam should be considered like dam, compared to dam, blood. Because blood also allows you to eat it like a minha. And also becomes pasul by night time like a minha. The Gemara says, okay, fine, true, but we have 6 comparisons between limbs and mincha versus only 2 by blood and mincha. Okay, Amar we said earlier. I would learn that you would think that even wood on the mizbeach and blood would eat salt. Also called a korban. Where do we see that wood was called a korban? Rabbi says that. And therefore, Rabbi our brata goes according to Rabbi. But Rabbi says that wood doesn't need salt. Tamar says korban. We see that you're able to donate wood. What's the minimum donation of wood? 2 blocks. Rabbi says, you could sacrifice, quote unquote, a korban of wood, like a mincha. You also need to salt it. You also need to bring things back. But more Ravara says, it's in pieces of wood, you should make splinters of wood to do kumita like a korban mincha. Amar Rabbi Papa, according to Rabbi, it's in wood as a korban needs other wood to be brought like a korban with it. So you're making a korban of wood, you have to bring wood with it to burn it. So we see, regardless, that Rabbi holds you need salt. The Gemara says, no, delete the word wood that does not need salt, really does need salt, only blood's excluded. The Gemara says, so what is, if that's the case that wood needs to be salted, what's the pasuk excluding? If you want to exclude dam, blood, we already excluded that from the word of your mincha. The Gemara says, okay, fine. Remove the word wood from the breta and put in the sachim. That what? The mincha is coming to exclude the nisachim of wine don't need salt. The Gemara says, wine, blood, and the wood in the ktoret, and don't need salt. Mani who's according to it, because wood does need salt. Either Bernard, you can say that Hamim, kasha ktoret, with the Hamim says that ktoret does need salt. Hi Tanahu, this must be found by the Tana says, Rabbi Ishmael Beno, Bashum Yohan, Kamer, Ma Prat Mufrash, just like the mincha specified, the virus makabel tuma is something that can get tuma, but Allah is burnt in the fire. V'yeshno amud be'achayzon is also not outside the derech. Of course, to do anything else, the davar makabel tuma that it become tameh, but Allah goes on fire. V'yeshno amud be'achayzon and it goes in outside the derech, needs to be salted. Yeah, so we see excludes wood. She'en makabel tuma is not come tameh. The sudam ve'yan excludes blood and wine. She'en on the machine is not going on the fire. And Saktor also excludes ktoret. She'en amud be'achayzon is not offered outside the derech. And we see from here that Rishmav, the son of Rabbi Yochanan, would exclude wine, blood, and wood, and ktoret from salt, and therefore that brata must be quarantined.